Please? I'm scared. The voice came from beneath my desk. I froze, fingers hovering over the keyboard. Thunder cracked outside, shaking the windows of the 43rd floor. The lights flickered once, twice, then steadied into that sickly yellow glow that made everything feel like a nightmare. I pushed my chair back slowly, looked down. A child. Small, trembling, tears streaming down flushed cheeks. 5 years old, maybe 6. Designer clothes soaked through, dark hair plastered to his forehead. His eyes, wide and terrified, locked onto mine with desperate trust. "Hey," I whispered, kneeling. "It's okay. It's just a storm." He reached for me. No hesitation. Just small hands grabbing my shirt like I was the only solid thing in his world. My chest tightened. I should call someone. Security. His parents. Anyone but. "I don't like the loud noises," he sobbed into my shoulder. "Papa used to sing when it was loud."
Papa.
Past tense. I held him without thinking, rocked him gently. My mother used to do this for me, back when I still believed someone could make the world feel safe. Before I learned better, the melody came without permission. A lullaby I hadn't sung in years. Soft, lilting, the only good memory I had left of her. His breathing slowed. His grip loosened just enough that I could feel my own heartbeat again. "Mommy." The word hit me like ice water. I pulled back, staring at him. What? But he was looking at me like he'd found something precious. Something lost. "Mommy," he said again, certain this time. My hands shook. "No, I'm not, I'm just." The door slammed open. A man stood in the doorway. Tall, shoulders broad enough to block the hallway light. His suit was soaked, rain dripping onto the marble floor. Dark hair swept back from a face carved from stone. Sharp jaw, cold eyes, the kind of beautiful that felt dangerous. Do Kyung-ho.
CEO.
The man whose name people whispered like a prayer or a curse depending on which floor you worked. His gaze swept the room, predatory and precise, until it landed on me. On his son in my arms. The air turned to glass. "Step away from my son." His voice was quiet. Too quiet. The kind of quiet that came before violence. I tried to move.
Couldn't.
The child's hands were fisted in my shirt, and my body had forgotten how to work. He was scared. I managed. The storm. I said, "Step away." The boy's grip tightened.
No.
"Don't go." Kyung-ho's expression cracked. Just for a second. Something raw and wounded flashed behind those cold eyes before the mask slammed back into place. He crossed the room in 3 strides. Reached for his son. The child screamed. Not fear. Desperation. He twisted in my arms, reaching back for me even as his father tried to pull him away. "Eun-woo." Kyung-ho's voice fractured. "Stop. Come here." "I want to stay with him." The boy was sobbing again, this time not from fear of thunder, but from fear of separation. From me. A stranger he'd known for all of 5 minutes. I met Kyung-ho's eyes. Saw the confusion there. The suspicion. Something else I couldn't name. "I'll let go," I said quietly. "Just give me a second." I turned to Eun-woo, smoothed his hair back.
Hey.
"Look at me." He hiccuped, eyes red and swollen. "Your dad's here now. He'll keep you safe from the storm." "Okay. But you." "I'll be right here. At my desk. You can see me, yeah?" He searched my face like he was trying to memorize it. Then slowly he nodded. I passed him to Kyung-ho. Our hands brushed. The contact lasted less than a second, but I felt it everywhere. Electric, wrong, dangerous. Kyung-ho held his son like he was made of glass. But his eyes never left mine. "What did you do to him?" "Nothing." My voice came out steadier than I felt. "He came to me. He needed someone. My son doesn't trust anyone." Kyung-ho's jaw tightened. He hasn't spoken to strangers since his papa died. "So I'll ask you again, what did you do?" Before I tell you what happened, subscribe to Starry-Eyed Lovers and tell me where you're watching from. The storm raged outside. Inside, the silence felt heavier than thunder. "I didn't do anything," I said. "I hummed a song. That's all." "What song?" I blinked. "Just a lullaby. My mother used to sing it." What? Sing it. Not a request. A command. My throat closed. I couldn't remember the last time I'd sung for anyone. Couldn't remember the last time anyone had asked me to. But Eunwoo was watching me with those wide, hopeful eyes. And Kyung-ho was watching me like I was a puzzle he needed to solve or destroy. I sang. Quietly. The melody barely more than a whisper. Kyung-ho went rigid. The color drained from his face. His grip on Eunwoo tightened until the boy squirmed in protest. Where? His voice cracked. Started again. Where did you learn that song? I told you. My mother. That's impossible. He was breathing hard now, chest rising and falling like he'd been running. That song, my husband sang it. Every night. To Eunwoo. Before he didn't finish. Didn't need to. The air between us felt charged. Dangerous. I don't know what you want me to say, I whispered. It's just a song.
No.
Kyung-ho stepped closer. Too close. I could smell rain and expensive cologne, and something underneath that was just him. Nothing about this is just anything. Who are you? Seo Min-jae. I work in marketing. 3rd floor. That's not what I asked. His eyes were dissecting me.
Looking for something.
Finding it, maybe, because his expression shifted from suspicion to something that looked almost like recognition. Have we met before? No, sir. Don't lie to me. I'm not. My husband kept a journal. His voice dropped. Intimate. Dangerous. He wrote about a boy he met. Years ago. At a shelter. Said the boy reminded him of himself before I found him. Said he wanted to help him. Wanted to bring him home. My blood turned to ice. He drew pictures. Kyung-ho continued. Sketches. The face was always blurred. Like he couldn't quite remember. But the build was the same. The way he hunched his shoulders. The way he looked at the world like it might break him. He was so close now I could feel the heat of him. What's your full name? Seo Min-jae.
Age. 28.
Something clicked behind his eyes. A door opening. Or closing. You ran away from the shelter, he said. Not a question. A fact. 12 years ago. My husband spent months looking for you. He wanted to adopt you. Wanted to give you what someone had given him, a family, a home. I couldn't breathe.
Couldn't think.
Then he got sick. Kyung-ho's voice broke. And he died before he could find you. Eunwoo had fallen asleep against his father's shoulder. Exhausted from crying. From fear. From whatever had just happened between us. Kyung-ho looked at his son. Then, at me. You'll report to my office tomorrow morning. 8 a.m. I can't. That wasn't a request, Mr. Seo. He turned toward the door, then paused. Looked back. And, Min-jae. I couldn't speak.
Could barely stand.
Don't run again. The door closed behind him. I stood alone in my office, rain hammering the windows, thunder rolling through my chest. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Unknown. Where something professional. We have a lot to discuss. Then, a second later. Unknown. Thank you.
For calming him.
I haven't seen him that peaceful since Jae-sung died. I stared at the messages until my vision blurred. Outside, lightning split the sky. Inside, I realized my life had just been shattered by a 5-year-old calling me mommy and a CEO who looked at me like I was a ghost he'd been waiting 12 years to see. You're late. I stood in the doorway of his penthouse office, 7:59 blinking on my phone screen. Kyung-ho sat behind a glass desk the size of my entire apartment, backlit by floor-to-ceiling windows that made Seoul look like a circuit board sprawling beneath us. It's 1 minute to 8, I said. I expected you early. He didn't look up from the photographs spread across his desk. Even from here, I could see they were old, edges yellowed, corners bent from being handled too many times. I stepped inside. The door clicked shut behind me with the finality of a cell lock. Close the blinds, he said. My hand found the panel on the wall. The glass fogged too opaque, cutting us off from the rest of the building. From witnesses. Kyung-ho finally looked up. Dark circles shadowed his eyes. His tie was loosened, top button undone. Small concessions that made him look less like a CEO and more like a man who hadn't slept. Sit. I sat in the chair across from him. Kept my spine straight. My hands folded. All the armor I'd learned to wear when I needed to disappear. He slid a photograph across the desk. A teenage boy sat on a shelter cot, shoulders hunched, face turned away from the camera.
Thin. Bruised.
The kind of broken that showed even in blurred profile. My breath caught. That's not. My husband took this. Kyung-ho interrupted. 12 years ago. He volunteered at the shelter every Wednesday. Said it reminded him where he came from, what he'd survived. He pulled out another photo. Same boy, different angle. This time his face was partially visible, split lip, hollow eyes, a defensiveness in the set of his jaw that I recognized like a mirror. He wrote about you in his journal. Kyung-ho's voice was eerily calm. Said you reminded him of himself before I found him. Said you had the same look, like you were waiting for the world to finish what it started. Why are you showing me this? Because I need to understand why my son looked at you yesterday and saw his dead papa. The words hit like a fist. Kyung-ho stood, moved to the window. His reflection ghosted against the frosted glass. Jae-sung wanted to bring you home. Wanted to give you what someone gave him, a family. He laughed, bitter. He filled out the paperwork, set up the room. Then the cancer came back and he spent his last 6 months dying instead of saving you. I didn't ask to be saved.
No.
He turned. You ran. The week before he planned to file the adoption papers, you disappeared. He searched for months. Hired investigators. Nothing. I stood, needing distance. I had my reasons. What reasons? He crossed the room faster than I expected. What could possibly? I was told I wasn't worth it. The words ripped out of me. The shelter director. He said your husband was wasting his time on a kid who'd end up dead or in prison anyway. Said I was too damaged, too broken, too. I stopped. Pressed my palms against my thighs to stop them shaking. Kyung-ho's expression shifted. The coldness cracked, revealing something raw underneath. Jae-sung never said that. I know, but I believed it anyway. Silence stretched between us. Heavy, suffocating. I need you to do something for me, Kyung-ho said finally. What? Take care of Eunwoo. I stared at him. You want me to babysit your son? I want you to be his caregiver. Officially. We'll say it's a company daycare program. You'll work from my office, but your primary responsibility will be Eunwoo when he's here. That's insane. He won't eat unless you're nearby. He screamed for 2 hours last night, asking where you were. He drew pictures of you at breakfast. Kyung-ho pulled out his phone, showed me a child's crayon drawing. 2 stick figures holding hands. One tall, one small. Above them, a shaky word. Family. My throat closed. I can't afford to hire someone new, he continued. Can't risk another stranger. But he trusts you. For some reason I don't understand. You make him feel safe. I'm not qualified. You calmed him in 5 minutes when trained professionals have failed for 3 years. He stepped closer. I'm not asking, Min-jae. I'm telling you. Starting today, you work for me.
Directly.
And if I refuse? His eyes hardened. Then I'll make sure every company in Seoul knows you're too unstable to hold a position. I'll bury your career so deep you'll be lucky to find work cleaning toilets. The threat hung between us like a blade. You can't. I own half the city. I absolutely can. I should have walked out. Should have told him to go to hell. But the memory of Eunwoo's small hands clutching my shirt, the desperate trust in his eyes. 1 month, I said. Trial period. If it doesn't work, I'm gone, and you don't interfere with my career. Kyung-ho extended his hand. Deal. I took it. His grip was firm, warm, and lasted a fraction too long. By noon, the entire company knew. Whispers followed me through the hallways. Eyes tracked my movement from Kyung-ho's private elevator to the executive floor. The rumors were already mutating. Secret affair, hidden child, scandal waiting to explode. I ignored them all. Focused on the little boy sitting on the couch in Kyung-ho's office, coloring with an intensity that suggested the world's survival depended on staying inside the lines. What are you drawing? I asked, sitting beside him. Papa. He didn't look up.
And Daddy.
And you. He turned the paper around. 3 figures again. This time with more detail. The tallest had Kyung-ho's dark hair and sharp suit. The middle one had glasses and a gentle smile. The smallest was Eunwoo himself.
And me.
standing beside them. Part of the picture. That's beautiful, I said carefully. But I'm not. You sing Papa song. Unwoo looked at me with those devastating eyes. That means you knew him. That means you're supposed to be here. Child logic. Absolute. Unshakable. The office door opened. Kyung-ho entered with two other men, one in an expensive suit, the other in designer casual that screamed old money. Min-jae. Kyung-ho's voice shifted to professional. This is Park Jin-woo, head of legal, and my cousin Han Jun-seo. Jun-seo studied me with unconcealed curiosity. He was handsome in an easy way, warm smile, relaxed posture, the kind of person who made you feel safe before you realized how dangerous that was. So you're the one, Jun-seo said. The one what? The one who got Unwoo to smile. Would you risk everything for love? Subscribe to Starry-Eyed Lovers and comment where you're watching from. Jin-woo opened a folder. We need to discuss the legal implications of this arrangement. If word gets out that Mr. Seo is living in proximity to your son without proper vetting. He's been vetted, Kyung-ho interrupted. By whom? By me. That's enough. Jin-woo's jaw tightened. With all due respect, your personal feelings are none of your concern. Kyung-ho's voice dropped to ice. Drop the employment contract. Make it ironclad. Mr. Seo is now my executive assistant with childcare responsibilities. Anyone who has a problem with that can discuss it with me directly. The lawyer left, frustration evident in the set of his shoulders. Jun-seo lingered. Can I speak with Min-jae? Privately. Kyung-ho's eyes narrowed. Why? Because I actually want to get to know the person you're trusting with your son. Unless you're afraid of what I might find. A muscle jumped in Kyung-ho's jaw. 10 minutes. He left, taking Unwoo with him for lunch. The door closed with a soft click. Jun-seo's friendly expression evaporated. I know who you are, he said. My stomach dropped. Excuse me? Seo Min-jae, formerly of the Bright Hope Shelter. Ran away at 16 after Director Kong told you that you weren't worth the effort of saving. He moved closer. Jae-sung told me about you. Showed me the photos. Made me promise that if anything happened to him, I'd find you and bring you home. Then you know I don't belong here. I know you're exactly where Jae-sung wanted you to be.
His voice softened.
But you need to understand what you're walking into. Kyung-ho hasn't let anyone close since Jae-sung died. Not family, not friends. Definitely not. He gestured vaguely between us. Whatever this is becoming. It's not becoming anything. I'm here for Unwoo. Keep telling yourself that. Jun-seo pulled out his phone, showed me a photo. Kyung-ho asleep in his office chair, Unwoo curled in his lap, both of them looking exhausted. This is what the last 3 years have looked like. No sleep, no peace, just survival. He swiped to another photo. Kyung-ho at a company event, surrounded by people but utterly alone. Eyes empty. Then you showed up and suddenly Unwoo is smiling and Kyung-ho is threatening lawyers, and everything is chaos. Jun-seo met my eyes. I need to know if you're going to break them when you leave. I'm not planning to break anyone. Plans don't matter. Jae-sung's family is already circling. They never approved of Kyung-ho. Thought he corrupted their son. If they find out about you, about how close you're getting, they'll use it as proof that Kyung-ho is unfit. They'll take Unwoo. Ice flooded my veins. They can't. They can. They have lawyers, money, social standing, and they've been waiting for an opening. He gripped my shoulder. So, I'll ask you again, are you staying or leaving? Because if you're leaving, do it now before that child's heart breaks. Before Kyung-ho, he stopped. Just don't make me watch them fall apart again. The door opened. Kyung-ho stood there with Unwoo on his hip, lunch bags in hand. Time's up, he said to Jun-seo. His cousin left with a pointed look in my direction. Unwoo squirmed down, ran to me. I got you a sandwich. He thrust a paper bag into my hands. Inside, a sandwich cut into neat triangles, an apple, a juice box. The kind of lunch a parent packs. Thank you, I managed. Kyung-ho watched us. Something unreadable in his expression.
Eat, he said.
Then we have work to do. The afternoon passed in a strange domestic routine. Unwoo colored while Kyung-ho and I worked through contracts, reports, correspondence. Every so often, The boy would climb onto the couch between us, seeking contact, reassurance. And every time, our hands would brush as we both reached to steady him. By 5 p.m., Unwoo had fallen asleep against my side, warm and trusting. Kyung-ho sat across from us, contract forgotten, just watching. He never did that with anyone else, he said quietly. Maybe he just needs. I know what he needs. His voice was rough. I just didn't think I'd find it. The city lights began to flicker on below us, Seoul transforming into a constellation. Can I ask you something?
I said.
You can ask. I might not answer. Why does it matter? Why I ran? Why I came back? I'm just. You're not just anything. He stood, moved to where I sat, looked down at me with an intensity that made my pulse stutter. Jae-sung wrote about you for months. Said you had his eyes, the same fear, the same fight. He wanted to give you what I gave him. A home. A future. A reason to stop running. He crouched down, eye level now. Too close. His gaze dropped to where Unwoo slept against me, then back to my face. You make my son feel safe, he whispered. And I haven't felt anything close to peace since the day Jae-sung died. So no, you're not just anything. You're the first thing that's felt right in 3 years. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think past the heat of him, the weight of his words, the impossible situation we were in. I'm your employee, I said. This is. I know what this is. His hand lifted, almost touched my face, then fell. But I can't stop. The door burst open. A woman in a power suit stood there, camera crew behind her. Security scrambling to catch up. Mr. Du, she said with a vicious smile. Care to comment on the rumors that you're keeping a male mistress in your office and exposing your son to inappropriate relationships? Kyung-ho stood, positioning himself between her and us. Get out. The public has a right to know. Security. His voice cracked like a whip. Remove them.
Now.
But the camera had already captured it. Me on the couch with Unwoo asleep in my arms. Kyung-ho standing over us, protective and possessive. The perfect scandal. As security dragged the reporter out, Kyung-ho's phone exploded with calls. Messages. Alerts. He looked at the screen, then at me.
It started, he said.
And I knew everything was about to change. Don't read the comments. Kyung-ho's voice cut through the silence of his car. Rain hammered the windows as his driver navigated Seoul's evening traffic. Unwoo slept between us, oblivious to the chaos his innocent attachment had triggered. I kept my phone face down on my lap. But I'd already seen enough. CEO's boy toy exposed. Predator targeting grieving family.
Disgusting.
That child needs protection. The headlines were worse. Photos of me leaving Kyung-ho's office. Unwoo's small hand in mine. The angle made it look intimate.
Staged. Wrong.
They're calling for my resignation, I said quietly. Let them call. Kyung-ho's jaw was set, eyes fixed on the road ahead. I'm not accepting it. This will destroy your company. Your reputation. Unwoo is finally sleeping through the night for the first time in 3 years. He turned to me, and the raw intensity in his gaze made my breath catch. I'm not losing that. I'm not losing you. The word hung between us.
You.
Not the arrangement. Not the help.
You.
Where are we going? I asked, needing to break the tension. Home. Your home. Our home. For tonight at least. He must have seen my panic because he added, the media knows your apartment. They're already camped outside. Unless you want to run that gauntlet. I thought of the photographers, the questions, the accusations. Shook my head. Then it settled. The car pulled up to a building that looked like it cost more than my entire life. Private security. Underground parking. The kind of place where people like me didn't exist. Kyung-ho carried Unwoo while I followed, feeling like an intruder. The elevator climbed silently to the penthouse. Opened into a space that was somehow both massive and empty. Glass, steel, modern furniture that looked sculptural rather than comfortable. Guest room is down the hall, Kyung-ho said. Second door. Bathroom attached. I'll bring you something to wear. He disappeared with Unwoo toward what I assumed were the bedrooms. I stood in the living room, surrounded by wealth I couldn't comprehend, and felt the walls closing in. This wasn't my world. Wasn't my life. I was about to leave, just walk out, consequences be damned, when I saw it. A wall of photographs. Not professional shots, but candids. Real moments. A man with a gentle smile and Kyung-ho's dark eyes. The same man holding a newborn. Teaching a toddler to walk. Laughing at something off camera while Kyung-ho watched him with such tenderness it hurt to witness. Jae-sung. The husband. The man who'd wanted to save me. He was beautiful, wasn't he? I spun. Kyung-ho stood in the doorway, sweatpants and a t-shirt in hand. Without the armor of his suit, he looked younger. More vulnerable. He was, I said. Kyung-ho moved to stand beside me, close enough that I could feel his warmth. That one. He pointed to a photo of Jae-sung covered in paint, grinning like a child. Was from when we renovated the nursery. He insisted on doing it himself. Made a disaster. A small smile tugged at his lips. Real. Unguarded. He would have liked you, Kyung-ho continued. Would have probably adopted you within a week of meeting you. Consequences be damned. He collected broken things. Said they were just waiting for someone to see their worth. His voice cracked on the last word. I'm not broken, I said. Neither was he. But the world tried its best. Kyung-ho turned to me. He survived his parents, kicking him out at 15. Survived living on the streets. Survived assault, starvation, everything designed to kill hope. And then I found him stealing food from a company event I was catering. He laughed, bitter and fond. He looked at me like I was going to call security. Instead, I gave him the entire tray and my phone number. Told him if he ever needed anything, call. And he did. 3 months later, bleeding in an alley because he tried to defend some other kid from a gang. Kyung-ho's hands clenched. I took him to the hospital. Paid for everything. Let him stay with me until he healed. By the time he was ready to leave, I couldn't imagine him not being there. The grief in his voice was palpable. 3 years hadn't dulled it. Maybe nothing would. I'm sorry, I said. Don't be. I got 7 years with him. 7 years of the best life I could have imagined. And he gave me Unwoo before the cancer took him. He met my eyes. I'd do it all again.
The pain.
The loss. All of it. For 7 years with him. Something in my chest cracked open. Go shower, Kyung-ho said, voice rough. I'll order dinner. Do you eat anything specific? I'm not picky. That's not what I asked. The attention, the care, made my throat tight. Korean comfort food. Nothing fancy. He nodded. Left me standing there with his clothes in my hands and the weight of his dead husband's memory pressing against my lungs. The shower was obscenely luxurious. Multiple jets, rainfall head, marble everywhere. I stood under the hot water until my skin turned pink and the panic in my chest dulled to a manageable ache. Kyung-ho's clothes smelled like expensive detergent and something underneath that was distinctly him. The sweatpants were too long. The shirt hung loose. I looked like a kid playing dress-up in his father's closet. When I emerged, the apartment smelled like home. Kyung-ho stood in the kitchen, actual kitchen, not the sterile showpiece I'd expected, stirring something on the stove. Unwoo sat at the counter in pajamas, coloring. Minjae. The boy's face lit up. Daddy's making Papa's soup. I froze. Kyung-ho's shoulders tensed. It's kimchi jjigae, he said without turning. Jae-sung used to make it when things were hard. Said it was impossible to feel hopeless with warm soup in your stomach. He ladled portions into bowls. Set them on the dining table with rice, banchan, everything arranged with casual precision. We ate in comfortable silence. Unwoo chattered about his day, the cartoons he'd watched, the drawing he wanted to finish. Normal.
Domestic.
Everything I'd never let myself want. Bedtime. Kyung-ho announced when Unwoo's eyes started drooping. But I'm not tired. Yes, you are. He scooped the boy up. Say good night to Minjae. Unwoo reached for me. I stood, let him wrap his arms around my neck. You'll be here tomorrow, he whispered. He'll be here, Kyung-ho said firmly. I promise. He carried Unwoo down the hall. I cleared the table, needing something to do with my hands. Found myself washing dishes, an absurdly normal task in this absurdly abnormal situation. You don't have to do that. Kyung-ho leaned against the doorframe, exhaustion evident in every line of his body. I needed to move, I said. He crossed the kitchen, took the dish from my hands. Our fingers brushed. Neither of us pulled away. Come sit with me, he said. Please. Not a command this time. A request. I followed him to the balcony. The city sprawled below, rain still falling, lights blurred into watercolor smears. He handed me a glass of whiskey, sank into one of the chairs with a sigh that sounded like it came from his bones. I'm tired, he admitted. So fucking tired. I'd never heard him curse. Never heard him sound this human. When Jae-sung died, I thought he stopped. Started again. I thought if I could just keep moving, keep working, keep Eunwoo alive and fed and safe, that would be enough. That I could function on autopilot until the pain stopped. Did it stop?
No.
It just became background noise. He took a long drink. Then you appeared, and suddenly I'm feeling things again, and I don't know if I hate you or... He cut himself off. The rain filled the silence. My last relationship ended with him telling me I was too damaged to love. I said quietly. That trying to fix me was exhausting. That he'd done enough and I should be grateful anyone tolerated me at all. Kyung-ho's grip tightened on his glass. I believed him. I continued. Believed I was broken beyond repair. That the best I could hope for was to be useful. To earn my place by being needed rather than wanted. I met his eyes. So when your husband wanted to adopt me, when he looked at me like I mattered, I ran. Because I was terrified of failing him. Of proving everyone right. You were 16. I was convinced I was poison. And now, I looked at the city, at the rain, at this impossible moment. Now I'm sitting on a billionaire's balcony wearing his clothes and trying not to think about how his son calls me mommy and how that doesn't feel wrong. Kyung-ho laughed. Actual laughter, rough and surprised. Have you ever loved again after loss? Share your story in the comments. This is insane, he said. Completely. The board is going to lose their minds. They already have. Jae-sung's family will use this as ammunition. Probably. He turned to me. So, why aren't you running? The question hung between us. Heavy. Necessary. Because Eunwoo looks at me like I'm something good, I admitted. And I haven't felt like something good in a very long time. Kyung-ho set his glass down, stood, moved to where I sat. And me. His voice was barely above a whisper. How do I look at you? My pulse thundered. Like you're trying to decide if I'm real or another ghost. You're real. He reached out, fingers ghosting along my jaw. Too real. It's terrifying. I should have pulled away. Should have reminded him about power dynamics and professional boundaries and all the reasons this was dangerous. Instead, I leaned into his touch. I can't promise I won't break, I said. I'm already broken. We'll figure it out together. His thumb brushed my lower lip. A question. An offer. I answered by standing, closing the distance between us. The kiss was soft, tentative. His lips tasted like whiskey and rain and something sweet underneath. He cupped my face like I was precious, breakable, worth protecting. When we pulled apart, his forehead rested against mine. I don't know how to do this, he whispered. Neither do I. Good. We can be terrified together. He kissed me again, deeper this time. His hand slid into my hair, and I gripped his shirt, and for a moment the world narrowed to just this, heat and breath and the impossible rightness of his mouth on mine. A sound from inside made us break apart. Eunwoo, calling out in his sleep. Kyung-ho pressed one more kiss to my forehead. I should.
Go.
I'll clean up. He hesitated, like he was afraid I'd disappear. Then nodded and went inside. I stood on the balcony, rain misting my face, lips still tingling from his kiss. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Unknown. Saw the news. Interesting development. We should talk. Director Kong. Ice flooded my veins. The man who'd told me I wasn't worth saving. Who'd driven me to run. Another text. Unknown. I have information about Jae-sung's family. About their plans for Eunwoo. Meet me tomorrow. Alone. Or watch everything you're building burn. I deleted the messages. Hands shaking. Inside, I could hear Kyung-ho singing softly to Eunwoo. The same lullaby I'd hummed. The one that had started all of this. I'd spent 12 years running from the past. Now it was coming for me. And this time, I had something to lose. You're making a mistake. Hyunshik's voice carried across the private dining room where the syndicate's inner circle gathered. 12 men who controlled Seoul's underground, seated around a table that had seen more blood spilled than wine. Junwoo stood at the head, Ada beside him in a simple black dress that somehow made her look regal. The twins waited in an adjacent room with Minjun, close enough to call if needed, but shielded from the worst of this world. I'm making a declaration. Junwoo's tone was conversational, but every man in the room recognized the steel underneath. These are my children. This is their mother. They are under my absolute protection. Protection? Hyunshik leaned back, fingers steepled. Or liability. You've exposed your greatest weakness to every enemy you've ever made. Then let them come. The invitation was casual, deadly. Let's see how that works out for them. Murmurs rippled around the table. Some approving, others uncertain. Power dynamics were shifting in real time. An older underboss, Choi with white hair and shrewd eyes, spoke up. The boy has your face. Anyone with eyes can see it. He nodded respectfully to Ada. And the woman. She carries herself well. Not many could stand in this room without flinching. Ada met his gaze steadily, refusing to show the terror coursing through her veins. The question, Choi continued, is whether you're prepared for the consequences. Children change things. Make men cautious when they should be bold. Sentimental when they should be ruthless. Is that concern or a threat? Junwoo's voice dropped dangerously. Observation. Choi raised his hands peacefully. I raised 3 sons in this life. Lost one. The other 2 hate me. I'm simply noting that fatherhood and leadership rarely coexist peacefully. Then I'll be the exception. Hyunshik laughed, sharp and mocking. You think love makes you stronger? It makes you predictable. Every decision filtered through what's best for the children. That's not leadership. That's domestication. Careful. Minjun's warning from his position by the door was quiet but clear. Or what? You'll shoot me for telling the truth. Hyunshik stood, challenging. We're all thinking it. He's compromised.
Weak.
And in our world, weakness is contagious. The room held its breath. This was the moment. Challenge or acceptance, loyalty or rebellion. Junwoo smiled. It was the most terrifying expression Ada had ever seen on his face. You want to test my weakness? Let's test it. He moved around the table with predatory grace. You think I'm soft now? That fatherhood neutered me? Ask the 3 men who were watching my children at the park yesterday, where they are now. Silence. Ask the police commissioner you bribed what happened when he tried to plant evidence in Ada's apartment. Oh wait, you can't. He's currently reconsidering his career choices from a hospital bed. Hyunshik's confidence flickered. I haven't become weak. I've become focused. Junwoo stopped directly in front of him. Before, I had nothing to lose. Now I have everything. And a man protecting everything is far more dangerous than a man protecting nothing. Poetic. Hyunshik's sneer was weaker now. But words don't. The knife appeared so fast Ada didn't see where it came from. One moment Junwoo's hands were empty. The next, steel pressed against Hyunshik's throat, not breaking skin but promising. You sent men to photograph my children. Junwoo's voice was conversational. You threatened their mother. You tried to frame her for crimes she didn't commit. All to prove I was vulnerable. I was proving a point. Sweat beaded on Hyunshik's forehead. So am I. The knife pressed harder, drawing a thin line of blood. Touch them again, and I'll make you beg for death long before I grant it. Not as your rival, as their father. He released Hyunshik abruptly, turning back to the table as if nothing had happened. Anyone else want to test my weakness? No one spoke.
Good.
Then we're done here. Junwoo extended his hand to Ada. Let's get our children. The twins were playing Go Fish with Minjun, who looked deeply uncomfortable but was trying his best. Amara had apparently beaten him twice, and she was not being gracious about it. You're really bad at this game, she informed him seriously. I'm better at other things, Minjun muttered. Like what? Shooting people. He realized what he'd said a second too late, face paling. I mean, not shooting people. I mean, it's okay. Kofi gathered the cards calmly. We know Daddy and his friends are in the scary business. Mommy told us. Ada had entered just in time to hear this. I told them you work in security. High-risk security. That's one way to put it, Minjun said dryly. Junwoo knelt in front of the twins.
We need to talk.
Grown-up talk, but you're old enough to understand. Both children set down their cards, expressions serious. Some people know about you now. Know that you're my children. He chose his words carefully. Some of those people might try to use that to hurt me, which means we need to be very careful. Will they hurt us? Kofi's question was direct, fearless. Not if I can help it. But things are going to change.
More guards. Different school, maybe.
Rules about where you can go. Amara's lower lip trembled. I don't want to change schools. My friends are there. I know, baby. Ada pulled her close. We'll figure it out. I'll make this as normal as possible, Junwoo promised. But I need you both to listen to Minjun and the other guards. If they say run, you run. If they say hide, you hide. No questions, no arguing. Even if we don't understand why. Kofi pressed. Especially then. The weight of it settled over the children. Their childhood innocence was being stripped away piece by piece, replaced with harsh reality. I hate this. Amara's voice was small, younger than her years. I just wanted a daddy. Now, everything's scary. The word shattered something in Junwoo. He gathered both children close, and Ada saw his hands shake against their small backs. I'm sorry. His voice cracked. I'm so sorry. Ada joined them, wrapping her arms around all three. For a moment, they were just a family trying to hold together against impossible odds. Minjun turned away, giving them privacy, but not before Ada saw moisture in his scarred eyes. That night, after the twins were finally asleep, a process that took twice as long as usual with repeated requests for reassurance, Ada found Junwoo on the penthouse balcony. He stood at the railing, city lights spreading below like fallen stars. You didn't have to threaten Hyunshik like that. She joined him, maintaining careful distance. Yes, I did. Men like him only understand power. He didn't look at her. If I'd shown mercy, it would have been interpreted as weakness. And the men you mentioned? The ones watching at the park?
Dead.
No hesitation, no remorse. They were following my children. There's no acceptable outcome for that except elimination. Ada should have been horrified. Instead, she felt a dark satisfaction that terrified her more than his violence. I'm becoming like you, she whispered. I wanted them dead too. When Minjun told me about the surveillance, I wanted you to make them disappear. You're not becoming like me. You're becoming a mother in impossible circumstances. He finally turned to face her. There's a difference. Is there? You'd never kill for pleasure or profit. Only protection. That's humanity I lost a long time ago. The honesty was devastating. Ada saw him clearly then, not the monster or the mafia lord, but a man who'd become something terrible to survive and was now desperate to remember how to be human. The twins, she said quietly. They're changing you. They're destroying me. His laugh was hollow. Every time Amara calls me daddy, every time Kofi asks if I'll be at his game, I feel parts of me that died years ago trying to resurrect. It's agony. Good. He blinked, surprised. Good that it hurts. Good that they're breaking through. Ada stepped closer, close enough to feel his warmth. Because the man who pushed Amara on that swing, who promised Kofi he'd be there, that's the father they deserve. Not the one who threatens people with knives. What if I can't be both? What if trying to be their father makes me weak at exactly the wrong moment? Then you'll have failed spectacularly while trying to do the right thing, which is more honorable than succeeding at being a monster. Their eyes locked. The air between them charged with 5 years of unresolved tension, fear, hope, and something neither wanted to name. That night, Junwoo said softly, on the rooftop, I told myself it was just physical. Just two lonely people finding temporary comfort. It was. But her voice lacked conviction. Liar. He raised his hand, hesitating, then cupped her face with heartbreaking gentleness. I knew after 5 minutes of talking to you that you were dangerous. After an hour, I knew you'd ruin me for anyone else. And when I woke up alone, I knew I'd spend the rest of my life looking for something that felt like those few hours. Stop. Tears spilled over, hot against his palm.
Why?
Because I felt it too. Because I've compared every man to you for 5 years, and they all came up short. Because I hate you for putting us in danger and love you for trying to save us, and I can't reconcile those things. So don't. His forehead touched hers, breath mingling. Just feel them both. Let them coexist. The kiss was inevitable. Soft at first, tentative, then deepening with 5 years of longing and grief and desperate hope. Ada's hands fisted in his shirt, pulling him closer. His arms wrapped around her like he could shield her from the world through sheer force of will. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, reality crashed back. We can't, Ada gasped. The twins, the danger, everything. I know. This is a terrible idea. I know. We should focus on their safety, not whatever this is. I know. He kissed her again, softer this time, almost reverent. But I'm done pretending I don't want this. Want you. Want all of it. Before Ada could respond, her phone rang. Unknown number. Her stomach dropped. She answered, hands shaking. Hello. Static. Then a voice she didn't recognize. Digitally distorted. Deliberately menacing. Pretty family you've built. Would be a shame if something happened. The line went dead. Junwoo's expression went from tender to lethal in a heartbeat. He took the phone, already dialing. Minjun, trace that call.
Now.
On it. Minjun's voice was alert despite the late hour. But boss, there's something else. Just came through on the network. You need to see this. Junwoo pulled up the message on his phone. Ada watched color drain from his face.
What?
What is it? He turned the screen to her. A single photograph. The four of them on the balcony moments ago, kissing, completely unaware they were being watched. Text below. Beautiful. Would be ashamed to destroy it. K, asterisk, asterisk. Who's K? Ada's voice was barely a whisper. Junwoo's hand gripped the railing hard enough that his knuckles went white. My brother. The one who betrayed the family 5 years ago. The one I thought was dead. Thought. I never found the body. He was already moving, pulling Ada back inside. I assumed the fire killed him, but if he's alive, why would he come after us? Revenge. He blames me for his exile, for his supposed death. Junwoo was texting rapidly, coordinating security. And he knows the best way to hurt me is through you. Minjun burst through the door, 3 guards behind him. Perimeter's secure, but we found this on the building across the street. He held up a high-powered camera, professional grade. Whoever planted it knew our blind spots. How long has it been there? Could be days. Could be weeks. Minjun's expression was grim. We're checking the footage now, but if it's your brother, he knows everything. Junwoo finished. Our routines, our defenses, our weaknesses. Ada felt the world tilting. The twins. We need to move them. Already arranged. Safe house is prepped. Minjun gestured to the guards. We leave in 5 minutes. Ada rushed to the bedroom where Kofi and Amara slept peacefully, unaware that their world was about to be uprooted again. She knelt between their beds, drinking in their innocent faces. Junwoo appeared behind her, his presence solid and reassuring despite the chaos. We'll keep them safe, he promised. Will we? Ada looked up at him, tears streaming freely now. Or are we just delaying the inevitable? There's no inevitable except what we make. He helped her to her feet. And I'm making damn sure my brother doesn't touch them. They woke the twins as gently as possible. No time for explanations, just quick reassurances and warm clothes. Amara cried, confused and frightened. Kofi was silent, but his hand clutched Ada's with crushing force. As they moved through the penthouse toward the private elevator, Ada caught sight of their reflection in the window, for people bound by blood and circumstance, fleeing into the night. A family forged in fire, running from ghosts. The elevator doors closed on their uncertain sanctuary, and somewhere in the darkness outside, A man who shared Junwoo's blood and none of his newfound humanity watched their escape with patient malice. The game was just beginning.